I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. I like that song. It's just a great little dance tune for a quick second. PCH going down south. Barbie's out there now, as you know, producer Barbie, and she's a second-time grandmother now. Actually, I think, nope, that's not true. Well, she's second, and then a third one's coming from her other son. So congrats to her. I want to take a quick second and just say thank you to the city of Mangum. The City Public Library is our sponsor, and they're very kind. They're working with me on the school regeneration program, as you all know about. Moved to Mangum for this particular reason, and it's interesting. Kimberly Cloud, who you'll meet momentarily, you'll all hear, I'm sure, to see her. Wow, that was weird. We had like 10 people jump on and then jump off. I swear Kimberly's coming in a minute, guys. You only have to listen to me for a second. So, well, a couple of minutes anyway. So we'll be bringing her on in a second. Amazing background. I mean, we're talking about an inventor. We're talking about somebody who's running, has ran for a couple of different seats in the government out in California. I believe that's in California currently. And I was going to ask you, Kimberly, on the transition that you're going to Idaho. I have a lot of friends, and you're from California, if I remember correctly. Me too. I've got a lot of friends, and seems like people are going from California to Idaho. And maybe we can chat about that for a second while we're going through what you're going through. And out there, she is going to be running for Senate, and she's very, very in tune in making an impact in people's world, meaning not just one-on-one. I mean, she's a coach, so there's a lot of things we're going to talk about in there. We're going to talk about her show, which is amazing. And I would love to have some of the radio stations and TV that she has really developed a really nice network, or let's call it a media grouping. Very, very intelligent woman, very impressive to talk to, and I mean, just the energy that's there. And at this point, I want to introduce you to my newest, bestest friend in the world, Kimberly Cloud of the Kimberly Cloud Show. And welcome aboard. I appreciate you doing this. I kind of brought you on a little earlier than I normally would. We already have like 30 people on. So I don't want to lose those people. I want to draw off your energy and the experience that you have at doing this. We started our first show, our first live stream was, which you may or may not know. I know you've seen some of the show, and we were talking about the delivery styles earlier, and I think we have some very similar ways about that, which is very good for a show. But yesterday was the first live stream we ever did on this show, September 17th. And we're now at 300.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're now at 42 shows. You're on our basically our year anniversary. And I'm very proud and very excited to have you here. As we talked about, would you start on the journey that got you to where you are now? I mean, we've got so much to talk about. I'm looking at, you know, a person, in your case, a woman who's done extremely well, and that's from who you are, obviously, and what you're built from. What built you, Kimberly? What built you? What made you be able to do? I mean, I'm talking about things that like 5 or 6 people might be able to accomplish in a lifetime. What built you, Kim?
Well, I started off from Mountaintop, PA, because I'm actually from Washington, D.C. I was born in Washington, D.C. I'll talk about it from the beginning. So
Okay.
I was born from Washington, D.C., and I set up there. My mother wanted a new, better life for us, so she took us down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and she had to advocate for different things as I was being raised by her. She had to advocate with the school board, and she wanted us in not just all Black schools, but a diverse, city. And she succeeded, and she had it
Hey,
hard.
hey,
But
Kim,
yeah,
can you hang there for a second? When you say she had to, because this sounds kind of really important, I want to hover
go
for
ahead.
when she's advocating with the school boards on your behalf. Is it because they were trying to put you into a school system that wasn't as diverse as as your mom would want for you to grow up in? Is that what she's advocating? What do you? I hadn't heard
Yes,
a
she's
parent.
advocating. She's
Go ahead.
advocating because she wants to see a better life for us and wants us to be around more than just African Americans, because the literature they were teaching was not the same like the literature at the
Okay.
other schools. So she wanted to challenge us, and I always was up to the challenge. And as she was advocating for us, she sat up there and she when it got to the 6th grade, my mother said she gave up on the school system. So what she did was she homeschooled us, but she wasn't quite like homeschooling us like she could have been. So I taught myself how to read to the best of my ability, how to write, and how to do math, basic algebra and stuff of that nature. And so when she passed away, she ended up catching colon cancer. I walked in
Oh,
5 minutes
I'm
after she passed. That's okay. I walked in
sorry.
5 minutes after she passed away. I sat up there, and they moved us up to Washington, D.C. from Charlotte back home. And I went to high school. I tested as a 11th grader, but I had tested in some aspects as a ninth grader. So I was taking ninth grade and 11th grade classes. So I graduated. I took like 10 classes, no lie, just to catch up and graduate with my class
Wow.
in 2002. So when I did that, I then decided I was on delayed entry in the Army. And I decided I wanted to go into the military. So I was on delayed entry. I went to MEPS. I went into the service, and
Thank you.
I didn't. I just, spoiler alert, I didn't have like a happy ending per se. But I'll tell you, I wasn't the best soldier, but I was. They worked. When I say they worked me, they worked me, and I ultimately they once again, the stigma of being around a certain class of people caused me to not do so good
Mm.
in the military. I always wanted to explore with different races, but I was always ending up around the same race, and I never could connect with them. I wanted to move up in the ranks. I wanted to do so many things, but I could never connect. And they were maliciously and intentfully doing things to me
Oh
that
man.
made me that actually hurt my career in the military. Now, let me tell you what happened on the up and up. I ended up getting an honorable discharge from the Army Review Board, which means they looked at everything I said. I
Hmm.
told you the same thing I'm telling everyone.
Yep.
And they gave me an honorable. So now once I got um, out of the military, I did some odd jobs, like
When was
I
this?
was a
When was this
counselor.
again? When was
2016. We're at
2016? Okay, good.
2016.
And where
So
were you stationed out of? Just out of
Fort Campbell,
curiosity.
Kentucky.
Okay, I've got a son at Leavenworth over
Oh,
in
wow.
where's that, Missouri? Yeah, he wants to be. He is a Army. Uh, what do you call MP?
Oh, he's
My
in
dad was the.
B.
Yeah, he's an MP. He wants to be
Okay.
his older brother is a sheriff in San Diego. Down and of course you start in the prisons, right? And then you work your whatever. But yeah, he wanted to go that route. He was in Tennessee playing baseball. Had smart kid, straight A's, awesome baseball player. And going in, he said, you know what? kind of like you. This really, he'd been playing baseball all his life. He was kind of done with it. And so he talked to mom, and she went down there, and they met with some recruiters, and he wanted to do it. And bam, he was all in, like right away. He like finished out that semester, and he was out. He was done. And he's happy as hell. And now he's engaged, or he's married. Now he's got a kid that is, I think, about 7 months away. So he's in a good spot, and the military was a good position for him. But yeah, he's at Leavenworth. I thought that was kind of funny.
Well said. And I wanted to say that, even though I didn't have the best experience, I will say that you just don't get out of the military. Once you're out, you're not all the way out. You're still
never. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just you thinking about your country in that way, it just shows more character about you. Because, I mean, I considered it when I was younger. My dad was a Marine. My uncle, same Marine. They both did several tours in Nam. So I was going to follow that. And then I was out playing around with some guys, and I got shot in the head with a paintball. We were playing paintball guns. We were playing paintball. And it was one of those things where I peeked up over the little mound and boom, shot it already. So just as the timing, and that moment right there, I got a flash in my head what people at war really experience. I mean, think about, because it's real there. I was freaked out with just, I've been hit 1,000 times with paintballs, right? But that thing, when it like right there, it rocked my mind about what people in the military really go through. And that's not an easy, from the beginning all the way through. It doesn't matter where you are, but that's a tough thing. We have a lot of vets on here because of the whole scenario. But so that's where you started. You worked your way out. You're trying, it wasn't really working for you because you're not really going out and exploring the other races, the way people act, the interaction between people, which obviously you're a curious, very curious person. You wouldn't have the Kimberly, you wouldn't have your podcast, you wouldn't have your show unless you're searching and looking like me. I'm a curious person. I want to see what it is that make people up. And if we're in our own box, if you're in, around everybody that looks exactly like you, thinks exactly like you, and that's all good. But at the end of the day, we have connection. Why not experience other things? And that's the beauty of what we do, you and I, your show, right, Kim?
Yeah, and the stigma is like, don't do
Yes.
that, and I branched out of that. So I was, after I got out, I did odd jobs from 2016 as a counselor. I was a drug counselor, and I went to Baltimore City Community College where I got my associates. Then a year later, I got my bachelor's at Coppin State University. Then a year after that, I got paid like $275,000 from the military. I'll tell you what happened. I was in the hospital and I made a prayer. I prayed. I was at a VA hospital and I made a prayer to Donald Trump. I was like, Donald Trump, can you please help me? Because I saw him on TV. And then all of a sudden, like months later, I go at the exact moment to the government building, the Baltimore City government building in Baltimore, Maryland. And then, as the time passed, they evaluated me and they said that, I am considered disabled. So they sat up there and paid me like a generous amount. And I took that money and I moved to Mountaintop, PA, me and my husband. And we had this big white house. It was so beautiful and it was deer and everything. And I said I wanted to get into genuinely Michelle wigs. I was like, I want to get into genuinely Michelle wigs. So I started taking wigs and keeping them in like my room, an open room. And I would promote them, and I had some people come and as the time went on, I ended up on the news on PA Live.
I saw
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, and I enjoyed doing that with Helly Bianca. And then me and my husband broke up and I ended up homeless. We broke up because of infidelity. I had my own business called Blue Cloud Cleaning too in between that time. And I was cleaning and so I ended up moving around like homeless and ended up moving to California where I ended up being grounded and got my own apartment. And then I ran for US Senate. I went from place to
Congrats.
place. Thank you. I went from place to place as much as I could, telling them about what I want to change about Santa Maria, California. And I
Right.
got a couple of votes, not a lot, but
You just signed in, right? You just were. I did that in my city in Placentia. I know what you're saying. So you what's it called? A write-in. You did a write-in, right?
exactly.
So
Yes,
you didn't
sir.
go through the whole process, and you still got votes.
Yes, I did. I did. They signed
Wow.
because in Santa Maria, you have to sign your name if you want to vote for somebody, and that's what I did. And I felt good, So then
Yeah.
some
Heck yeah.
controversy happened where I was being, because I was Republican in a majority Democrat state, I was starting to be harassed. It started like caving in because it was like immigrants that were
Bombardment.
following me, like harassing me. And so I moved to Salt Lake City where um, I started to notice every time I get affiliated with a Democrat state, something would happen. So that's why I'm moving to Boise, Idaho. So fast forward, I
Hey, wait, hold on a second. You said that I didn't catch. I was just reading some of the messages or questions that are coming in already. Sorry. And by the way, I may pop off, like do
okay.
this, and I'm doing that. I forgot to tell you that back in the green. Hey guys, hang on for a second. Let me do some of the instructions I usually do offside because you guys are starting to ask a lot of questions. I may do that every once in a while because it looks like the questions are starting to come in pretty good here. And instead of them looking at my ear hole while I'm trying to read the messages to see which ones to come up, it's a much better look to have your beautiful face there in front of it instead of my ear hole.
Thank
You
you.
agree? You agree?
Thank
So
you. Yeah.
you're very welcome. I may pop off, but in the meantime, continue on with your story, and I'm going to start bringing some of these questions in.
Okay. So after I got paid, I sat up there and we split up. And then after we
Sorry to hear
split
that.
up, yeah, after we split up, I started moving around. So I ended up um, fast forward in Ketchikan, Alaska, and they told me and suggested for me to come to Seattle. So I went to Seattle. I was just doing a bunch of touring, back and forth,
Yeah,
trying to find where I stay because I have mental health issues, I'll admit. I could have been a little overtly paranoid, but at the same time, I knew
I
that
get it.
when I'm like,
I've
my
been,
face is
I've been there.
very unique, and I know that I don't I've seen what I've seen in my eyes. I know that I was being followed and attacked. But look at what they're doing now when they don't get their way, with everything. So that's all
Yeah,
I'm saying. So anyway, so I end up in Washington. So
this is
now I'm
Seattle
talking
now. This
about
is Seattle, not Washington D.C. Seattle,
Seattle. Yeah. So
where
now I'm
I was
talking.
born. You're in my
Um,
hometown now. Yeah.
okay.
All
So
right.
so I ended up basically moving to Seattle where sat up there and I ended up under the influence of some narcotic. I hate to make bust your show, but I'm telling the truth. What happened was I was under the influence of methamphetamine because somebody put it in my drugs, which was marijuana, because I only did marijuana. And I'm just being honest. This is the truth. I was running for president of the United States in Seattle. I was going to run for president of the United States in Seattle. I know a lot of people are laughing, but I had my reasons because
Nobody's laughing, Kim.
we
Nobody's.
were in a deep, deep battle between good and evil right now. And
Yeah,
so
we are.
they were having Trump in and out of jail, you know, like in jail, at court, you know, just like they had me. So anyway, I ended up under the influence, and what
Oh,
happened
whoa,
was,
whoa, whoa, whoa. So let's put first of all, I want to go to that comparison's excellent. So let's stay on that for a second. But
yes,
to your point, when I was a sophomore in high school, I just moved to the school, and some dude said, "Hey, let's go to a party." And I was this was in El Toro, California, when I was a sophomore in high school, and he flipped out a joint, a marijuana, and I didn't know it, but well, I was at 16. I hadn't done a whole lot yet. Did some drinking. I'm not. I don't have a great, beautiful past, you know. But it was laced. Apparently, I think it was PCP or some sort of like you're saying, because I was freaking out. I literally I begged this dude to take me home, knowing I was going to get my ass kicked. My dad's a Marine, and fortunately, they were like, I don't know what happened, blah blah blah. But somebody laced me too. I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
so what happened was the whole day I was at this shelter because I was between housing, and I'm gonna be honest, I make quite a bit of money, but when you're spending money on hotel room after hotel room, it's
Oh
hard to
yeah.
save up for a house or apartment. So I was being mistreated at the shelter by the manager, and then all of a sudden what happened was, at the end, the fast forward, they laced my marijuana with methamphetamine, and it caused me to be aggressive and irate. The police came. The police came, and I can remember everything, but I know that what happened was not was out of my control. Was out of my control at that point. So I sat up there, and they came, and I was just irate. And then I was so aggressive, I ended up attacking a woman, and I apologize to her for to this day, for everything I've done, because if I had not had placed myself in that shelter, that those events would not have happened. But I say God speaks through me, and when I say that I am telling the truth, I'm telling the truth. You know, I've been infiltrated, I've been spiritually attacked, I've been broken down so many times, and now right now I'm on probation, and um I urge you guys to look through the records, because like how I was acting when I was arrested and how how I'm acting now is two different people. You know, that's why I want to clean meth off the streets. I am sick. It needs to be a drought. You know, I am sick and tired of these criminals bringing meth. That's why he's blowing up the boats. Nobody wants to catch a fish. Nobody wants to catch a fish no more, because they know they're going to blow up, you know, because it it hurt me. It hurt my career. And now I always have to tell the truth. And people are like, well, they doubt it. They think that, you know, well, they weren't there, so they don't understand what happened. But I've
True.
always been like in truth. Like my roommate, not my roommate, but my neighbor name was Marty Kaiser, and they made Enemy of the State about him, that 1995 movie. He was
Yeah.
my neighbor, and we talked, but I was supposed to bring him over for some tea, you know, Odyssey of an Eavesdropper, you know. So, you know, I know people in the government, you know, and like I said, I'm never quite out of the government. I filled out an application for the CIA. I am affiliated with NSA because Marty made items for the NSA, and he made items for like the tiniest speck on your, like you can zoom in to a piece of cotton on the floor, you know, like
Mhm. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, they have that type
Yep.
of technology, and
Absolutely.
and I I'm affiliated with that because I give intel right now. What I'm doing, I may, even if I run for state senator in Boise, Idaho, and lose, I'm always going to be intel for what the White House don't know for Seattle, Washington, and what's going on in Seattle.
Interesting. So is this one? So there's so much we could talk about, and that's why we spend a little bit more time in the green room. Because I like maybe someday I'll actually have a green room, but I like to call it off stage, backstage, whatever you want to call it. But while we were talking back there, we were going over so many things we could talk about, and I said, look, there's so much we could literally make this a series with your background and now it's even more than it, because there's a lot of layers there, right? There's a lot of stuff going on that's bringing you. We're not even on your story yet, and I appreciate what we're doing here and laying that background as to why you're where you are now. And I love this part of the show when people really get into that. Are you saying in this intel that you're talking about, is this one of the subjects was your inventions? One of the subjects you want to talk about your show, right? The Kimberly Cloud show, and then one of them was about running for office, as well as some of those political views. Everything in what you're talking about and your bio and your journey is such eye candy for me, because it's such the subjects that we like to talk about, because you are an embodiment, an aggressive embodiment of the great middle class of America. You're trying to fight for the things that we all need to fight for day in and out. The illegal, let's say the word, I'll say the word, illegal immigration, where you were being followed, you were being harassed. That's not uncommon in today's world. Unfortunately, it's way more common. It may get worse before it gets better, because there's some really crazy things going on right now. And but it's stuff we all need to talk about. You and I need to have conversations like this. We need to have conversations with those folks in Seattle that are doing stuff. But it's not so easy. We got to both kind of come together and be on shows like this and have good discourse. Right now, it's not good discourse, but we need discourse, because your experiences aren't necessarily everything item by item by item of my experiences, item by item. But you know what? As your neighbor in your block, the same discussions, issues around the dinner table, they're exactly the same. Whether you're in your pigment, I'm in my pigment, that doesn't matter. It's what our life experiences are, and you've had enough to be able to. I mean, so much that it's such a valuable input, because the great middle class, we all go through these, not to the extreme you are, because you're putting yourself out there. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, and that's not easy in today's world. And you're the one taking the arrows for all the rest of us. I like to say you're that leader that's out there, and you're taking all the arrows so that we can follow in your path, right? So what do you want to? What was that? And all of this was just about, is this one of your inventions? I know there's several number that you've got out there, but in what you're doing for the government there, as far as what's going on there, can you get into that a little bit, or is that not something you can get into?
Well, I can get into it. So it all started 5 years ago, when I was doing the wigs. I decided that I wanted to start talking about Trump. After I prayed for Trump prayed to Trump and for Trump, and I got paid. I sat up there, and things, I don't know, like things started to happen. Like I started to hashtag Donald Trump, and I have his email addresses, and all of his professional email addresses. I have there's text messages that I get from his administration on a regular, and sometimes they're code words for different things, and pretty much I sit up there and I'll hashtag him so it can get to the administration, and I'll tell them what I feel is going on, even if it sounds like a conspiracy theory. Everything that I ever predicted.
I'm so tired of that damn statement.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that all those conspiracy theories, and you and I are on this. I'm an independent, but I lean right. I'm very middle, but I lean right in some things. Some things I lean a little left, and I have voted split ticket because I know local people that I know they're very good at what they're doing. But it's not about the party; it's about the person. However, what you're saying is exactly true because there's so much that needs to be fixed in this world, and especially what that word conspiracy theory is driving me nuts because you and I, last 8 years, how many conspiracy theories, and then set that word aside, have come true, have actually been real things, not conspiracy theory. That's the other side trying to win that battle. And I'm so sick of the other side, whatever side, the other side trying to win that battle to the point now where the other side is dangerous. I hope this isn't now playing the game the other way around. And I hope that's not what we're diving into. You probably know more about this stuff than I do as far as politics go. But I'm very frustrated that it's going away because I think more and more, what is it? 40,000? No, 2 million. I think it's 2 million Democrats have left the party to come over to the Republican Party because of the stuff. Yeah, so it's a big number. It's big numbers. And but still, you have stations and they lie. I mean, we aren't told the truth very often out here in Middle America. The news media is either one side or the other, and they're telling their stories about that. And then that's why conspiracy theories, quote unquote, are still around. None of them are. They're either what we feel happened or didn't. But when there's facts behind something, you can't call it that anymore. Russiagate, let's say. That's an obvious one, right? That was a conspiracy theory forever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The whole Russia thing, right?
It was. And these conspiracy theories, for instance, secret societies, I'm like, what is so secret that they haven't brought out to the public yet? And
True.
It's about enlightenment and aliens, aliens, they gradually, UAPs, they gradually letting it out to the public, but some reason either the aliens don't want them to bring them to light about their existence in our country, or I don't know what else to think. They may been bound by a contract not to say anything. I think about conspiracy theories all the time, but what is factual is that I've looked up things. Before I looked up things, I've said things and I've fact checked myself, and it comes up to be true about China, about Russia. I've looked it up and I've done it online so many times. So, yeah, I have mental health issues, but I think that my accuracy is at least 75% or greater when I predict things.
Yeah. And
so that's why I use Intel. That's why I say Intel.
Okay. I got you. That's where I figured you were going. So you're doing sweat equity. You're doing work in research and looking for these patterns and these things. And I agree with you, by the way. It's a bizarre thing because it's not like it's been one president or two that hasn't let stuff out when we're all going, wait, something's going on here. We're going all the way back for presidents after president. And you're right. Is it the aliens don't want to land and then an entire world freaks out? And there's got to be some sort of I know several people that believe there's like a soft entree, a soft introduction, because
I like that.
I think that's kind of where it is, because it's great to think that the whole everything revolves around us. I mean, we used to think the rest of the universe, like back in the day, we revolve around the sun. We always thought it was the other way around. So we're evolved so far, but there's still so much more out there. I even look at it in my book. I'm querying a book. I don't have it out yet, but that's why this podcast is because of the book. But in chapter 13, it's called Blinded by the Light. And it's about religion, but it's about why is there one God in all these different religions, and they fight against. Why are we killing each other over the same stuff? We have religious wars. It makes no sense. God and oh dang it! I just went. The Jewish religion, the Muslim religion, Christianity. I even say Hindu to a point, because those are the four major, even though Hindu isn't really a religion, but it's a way of life. So is religion. And then they all reference God, and they all reference the earth being flooded. I mean, literally, if you go through and you read through the different religions, and yet we still fight over them. And that makes no sense. But then you go a step further, and then that chapter kind of continues to evolve, goes through all the comparisons of the religions and so forth and so on. And then it goes, now, here's an interesting question. What if God created us, right? Why wouldn't he create somebody else or another, his children? This neighborhood, that neighborhood. They may be billions of miles apart, but whatever. To him, it's, the universe is just a neighborhood, I guess. I'm not an expert on religion, but this is how I talk to God. So that all is now exploring. What if actually at the end of the day, for us to recognize aliens as part of his children is like the final lesson, the final test before he returns. I mean, there's so many things that are there and reasonable, but are being fought against about coming forward. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yeah. Aliens, there could be aliens on this planet that look just like us. There could be aliens outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be aliens that's on other galaxies that look just like us too. We don't know. We could be a simulation and sleep somewhere. We don't know. But I
True.
believe in God.
Oh, hold on. You're talking about the Matrix, aren't you?
Yeah.
No,
and
that's not.
Civilization.
Don't brush over that, man. That's a big deal. That's a very real reality. As a matter of fact, one of my boys, he still believes that to a certain degree, but I mean, that is not only was that the greatest movie in the world, I think one of them anyway, but it really does. I mean, the brilliance of the writing of that is amazing, because it really makes you go, whoa, because we could be that very easily, no doubt.
Yeah, and the inventions that I wanted to say something about is implantation of positive thought patterns, which can cause positive thoughts to seep into you, and you won't feel as like depressed or have anxiety or have negative thoughts, or the extraction of negative thoughts using some type of form of like UV wave therapy or something, ray therapy. Like I really feel like these inventions I've been enlightened to have, and they don't have an invention where they have implantation of positive thought patterns.
No.
They, just think of what if we had more positive thinking, if we had more positivity in the world. We sometimes get selfish with holding the door for somebody if we don't like how they look, or we get selfish.
True.
We sometimes don't say thank you to people like a selective few. We need to come together and have more positivity, even when you don't want to do that positivity, because that's one ticket or one thing closer to getting to heaven with. I believe in a God. I believe that, the Bible talked about AI being born through the Bible. The Bible, they didn't say AI, per se, but they said they said something similar to AI. They said in the clouds, and we have iCloud, cloud everywhere,
Yes.
so yeah, it's some relevance to it. And lastly, and I'll let you talk, FYI, if you spell Illuminati backwards, it goes straight to the NSA. If you Google Illuminati backwards, it goes straight to the NSA. So it has to be some
Oh, you
relevance
hear
in the
that, folks?
Illuminati. Yes, they claimed it
You hear
backwards.
that?
You can try
That's
it.
crazy. I
Yes.
will actually. I will do that. So that search, there's an algorithm. And believe me, the technology you and I know about, as you know probably, the technology you and I like, the military and everything else, and that kind of stuff. We're generations ahead. Our military is from the rest of the world, and then that's the stuff we know about. And then there's another stuff that's generations ahead of the stuff we know about.
I hate to cut you off, but magic. I think science has some part of alchemy in it, and we haven't caught up to science, and we're at the brink with AI, but we haven't caught up to really what science fiction can
Yes,
bring us. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Go
100%.
ahead.
So you're think about it this way. Remember, Star Trek, I think, is the one, Captain Kirk, where he would come off the bridge and the doors would automatically open, and he'd be going to the different decks or whatever. You know what that scene I'm talking about. I mean, it was all the time, but where the doors would open. You know what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
think about now when you go into a grocery store. That used to be science fiction. Captain Kirk, and that used to be like, wow, that's
The
so cool.
Neuralink was science fiction,
Yes, yes,
mythology. Some stuff in mythology was like myths, the Egyptians, but Isis,
yes.
her name rings through like all of Europe. She has her own organization, Isis, and I just
Sun
feel
God.
like, huh?
Isn't Isis the husband of sun god?
Osiris
Right?
is Ra is the sun god, but Osiris is the ruler of the dead,
Oh,
and
the underworld.
Isis
The
is his wife.
underworld.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
his wife.
yeah. Right.
Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
yeah, but Isis, she was supposed to help her son that was supposed to rule the king, which she ended up doing. I don't know their names about heart or nothing, but I know that she did not fight against her son winning and attack the enemy, so he cut her off her head. It was a lot of like dysfunctionality. It was a lot of dysfunctional
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
going on, and I was just I was like, so if it gets this dysfunctional in this world. And then I was speaking with an African, and I'm going somewhere with this. He told me that him and the animals around him in Africa, they are unified, and they are it's no need to have them caged. They'll get their feed when they want to get their feed, but they're unified. They're in harmony. They don't take what they can kill, or however that saying is. and
True.
and and I say, wow, if they're in harmony there, why are we different? But I'm not
Yeah.
saying, I don't want no lion rolling up on me. I don't want no lion, sitting up there biting me, but
There's
I
a
get what
point
he's
to it.
saying. He's saying that they're
There's
in
a point.
harmony. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in harmony. The animals, like, that's God's country.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, and all the rest, it stems from Africa, the Garden of Eden, so yeah, they're in harmony with the animals, that it's like everything is controlled here to a certain degree. Everything is
I,
controlled.
I'd even take that a step further, and we talk a lot about frequencies, like your body, your mind, your body is energy, right? And literally to the point where different stories go around, but one of two is mainly the one. If you just your brain was used to power a house, it would power it for 6-8 months. It's that much power in your brain, energy, and then more so your whole body. If you took the energy that your body released, it would power a small town for a month. You're talking about an energy, but then you have a frequency, and I'm going to get into a conspiracy theory here in a second.
Okay.
In that frequency, you can live. It's like you can feel somebody coming up behind you, right? That's the frequency that you're feeling. The trees, all the root systems, they're all in harmony. You talk about getting grounded. If you're having issues, take your freaking shoes off and go walk out in the grass. You'll feel a lot better. Hug a tree. All those tree huggers, right? All those things are part of our human experience, because we are energy. We are that. I mean, now the conspiracy theories, there's thoughts of that, because your energy, your frequency goes out around about 6 feet around you, right? So when somebody's 6 feet coming into you start to sense, that there's somebody around you. So the conspiracy, I want to add to your conspiracy theories. The conspiracy theory, remember when the COVID came out, and our wonderful hero, Dr. Evil Scumbag Dick, what was the guy that told us we had to lock everything down because
Dr.
he said
Fauci.
no?
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, Fauci. He's still getting $400,000 from the government. He gets
Really?
paid every year, $400 and something thousand. Yeah.
Did
For the
you
rest
hear
of his life.
that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
I
there's a
cannot
lot of,
believe it.
yeah, it's very, very true. Absolutely true. And as a matter of fact, Trump's trying to get rid of that. So there's a lot of, as part of the Doge, and then the Doge, unfortunately, I don't think it's going anywhere, which is a shame. But because that's something that's really powerful. But there's a lot of people that say, to keep away from that energy, 6 feet is why that 6 feet became the number, to socially distance, so that humans would not have that energy. And look at this new generation who went through COVID and stayed home, and they never interacted. They were only over, and what's happening with the mental health. I mean, look at the mental health of that generation coming up, the college kids, and all the things that are coming out. And I don't mean just the different, the different letter alphabet stuff and, LGBTQ. As a matter of fact, I have a guest on next week about that, which I'm very excited about, because it's a discussion. There's a lot of discussions going on, curiosity about that, because of what's happening now with Charlie Kirk and everything else. I mean, you realize that that bullet for Charlie was that dude was up there 18 minutes until the first word LGBTQ. I mean, that's sickness. Okay, that's pure. Whether you agree with him or not, or whatever, but that's a sickness, and there's a lot of those situations that are occurring. So now it's starting to feel like when that group of society was so separated just unto themselves. We're a social being. We're a social construct. We need other human beings. We to live on our own. We become different mentally, because we need human interaction to be who we are as a species. It's a social, right? Just like if a monkey, social animals, they develop a construct, a society. A monkey on its own is going to act different. It's going to be different. It's not going to have the same considerations. It's not going to consider life as this, I'm exaggerating here about a monkey, but it's not going to consider life as important as you normally would if you lived within the society. Now, if we're all separated, that creates these little, I'll call them bombs out there that can just go off at any time. You know, oh, something just moved here. Maybe I'm tripping myself out. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff that's connected that is just dots that we haven't connected. But what you're saying is really interesting in how that all, nature is all working in harmony. The animals, and I go as far as to add the plants to it. And if we have the freedom of choice, and that I think interferes with our connection to nature, because our freedom, maybe we think outside where we should sometimes if we aren't guided correctly. What do you say?
Well said. I have to say that I feel like the Democrats over the course since 95, strategically from Democrat state to Democrat state, through the flooding of drugs, the CIA is admitted that they gave
Absolutely.
drugs knowingly and unknowingly to the ghettos of the neighborhoods.
Crack cocaine.
Crack cocaine. My dad was on that, and it was sad. It was sad. So then you have a broken family where the father is in and out of the relationship. The mother is strung out over the father, and society over the years have mold a person. But I outdid that. I made it to where I said, I outdid that. I was able to get out of that bad habit, but at the same time, you have so many different elements going on with people strategically, doing this. Like now, the music, Charlie Kirk said something. He said he named 4 powerful Black women, and he said you don't have the brain capacity to be in the positions through affirmative action. Now, 6 months later, he was dead. I say, would it hurt to entertain that? What if he was telling the truth? That's another thing I want to invent, something that gives, all people of all races more brain capacity, and hit up those open spaces of your brain so that you can think with full capacity about things. We have a lot of good brain power, but there's dead spots, and there's open spaces. So if we can open those neurons up, and and that's what I want to do. I want to that's what I'm sent here for, through God, to just like you were sent here through God, just like everybody else was. I'm just utilizing and trying to go above and beyond for God, but I think that that is a great invention, because you have to think, a lot of people, they want more brain capacity, but they don't know how, and to be enlightened. I'd rather be enlightened than smart, because enlightenment, can bring you closer to humanity. And I feel like over the course of the years, it was strategically done to me to withdraw me from my family. I feel like my whole life was created under a dark cloud, and that's why I owe it to the Army Review Board for giving me that honor. I owe them my life for giving me that honorable. And that's why I've been able to complete a master's, and I'm going for my second master's, so yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because before I get to that, because there's a lot of questions on the educational path that you've chosen, as well as other questions here. And I'd like to get to these. We haven't even started on it. We're already at an hour. I've been captivating you. I've just ignored our audience here. So I got to give them a little bit of I got to take a little shade off of them here and have them come in with some questions. And this one's out of timing, but I want to know this. So I'm going to selfishly put this. I know we haven't got to this yet, but how did you, because I'm looking at all the media that you're involved in. I mean, KCAA radio affiliates of NBC. Over 7 million Southern California homes are serviced by that. There's the Shark Tank, 3 million people on that Facebook platform. I mean, I could go through the different radio stations, CEO Weekly, and magazines. There's so many things I could go through in that media. I mean, I'm salivating here. I want some of that. I've always had a dream of having a radio show. And actually, I met this morning with the owner of a local AM station. And we're going to be, we're going to be doing the streaming here, obviously. And we stream every day, at least once a day, Monday through Saturday. I've been forced into. I did not want to do Saturdays, but now I'm doing Saturdays. And it's cool because I'm playing a video game for a job now. I mean, that's not a bad gig. What we're doing here, I just need to get a little bit more sponsorship to keep it going. But I met with them, and next week we're going to put together some collaboration where this mic will be here and the radio mic will be here, whatever. And we'll be going out because right now we go to Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, and everything goes from YouTube out to, and then Instagram as well. Now we're going to be going to WKX, I think 1070. I don't remember exactly, to be honest with the call name, but that's because of the school regeneration program that we were talking about a little bit. That's why the Mangum City Library is allowing us. They're sponsoring the show. So moving things forward really tend to that kind of has people kind of flow in with you. So I'm guessing that some of this question here, how did you first get recognized by major media platforms or outlets, is because you were going out there and doing stuff. You were looking for stuff. You were finding things. You were doing the stuff that entrepreneurs like yourself, like entrepreneurs and people of curiosity and people of, look at how much the things that you're doing are around making this country, and by extension, the world, because they follow us. I mean, look at what the rest of the world is like. They're like cheering on Trump, even though we've got crazy people here being weird. But there's a thirst for a better life, and you're going after that. And that's, I'm assuming, how you first get recognized, because at some point, I mean, you've got so many platforms now that you've experienced time with, and I want to know all of them so I can also jump on your tail. What's that called? Your tail strings, or what's that called? Yeah,
yeah.
I want to jump on your path here, and I love what you're doing and what you've done. So, how did that all start? How did you? I mean, I've got a dozen questions here that I haven't gotten to yet, just because I've been loving this conversation. So, what do you say about that?
So I am.
By the way, hold on. By the way, I love the freaking color of your hair.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
love that. Go ahead.
So I started by I went, like you said, I went out and I saw the news van. And so I was in Mountaintop, PA, and I told them what I can do. And they were going to initially have me come on for Black History Month, but then they were like, no, we'll have you come on about your wigs. And then the next thing was, after that, I was at a women's shelter, and because I was going through my homeless state, and Daymond John was playing. Daymond John was playing on Facebook with Mark, with his Shark Tank audience, and I kept hitting the like button. And out of 3 million people, he chose me. I was so flabbergasted. I still can't find that footage. I don't know what they did with the footage. It was a 3-minute conversation, and I sat up there and spoke to him about my business, Blue Cloud Cleaning. And then I spoke with Kevin Harrington's team because I was willing to put some money down to be interviewed by Kevin Harrington about the inventions, any invention, pick one. In 2016, I sat up there and created the first K Cloud smoke detector that was artificial, would be artificial intelligence included. And it would have been in hotels, it would have been in cars, you know. And when I got incarcerated for the brief time I was incarcerated, I saw it on the news that Seattle actually picked it up. So I was like, okay, well, at least they're, you know, doing something for the cause, you know. So yeah, like I KCAA affiliates at NBC, I briefly was with them. They're good, great people. And I was able to get with them. KKNW 1150, I was able to be with them, and that was great. I try to be an entrepreneur and move around a little bit as the time goes on, so, because you can't possibly fill up a whole day's worth of radio shows. You know, you got to spread it out and
Yeah,
saturate
sure.
your audience, you know.
Yeah, they
So,
say, you know,
yeah.
you've got to touch somebody so many times before they even recognize that you're there. So saturation is a great point.
Mm-hmm. And I'm on StreamYard as well. I'm at the Kimberly Cloud Show 39 on Facebook and
Say that
Instagram,
again.
YouTube.
So what you just gave was sounded like it was a YouTube address. What was that? At Kimberly Cloud. What was it? Mine's
The
at Rod Duff 1939. That's why I think that.
Well, it's
What?
the Kimberly Cloud Show 39, the Kimberly Cloud Show 39.
Oh, we're
And that's
close.
on
You and I are
Facebook,
close.
YouTube, and Instagram. And then I have 8 different platforms I go through. So yeah. I've had over, at least with my documentaries and interviewing people, I've had at least over 50,000 hours worth of footage. So yeah, that's a lot. It may not seem like a lot, but it is a
That's a
lot.
lot.
Yeah,
That's a
5 years worth. Yeah.
Wow. So what was the first big break in media? What was the first thing that kind of where instead of you chasing the news truck and get so you're earning that, you're getting that. I mean, I see you've been recognized by all sorts of news outlet. What was that? What's the biggest moment that you think that you can remember and say that moment? That's the moment right there that went from chasing to being chased. Let's put it that way. That may not be accurate, but you get the mental picture, right? What was that moment? Can you remember one?
Um, well, Oppenheimer, what is his name? The guy from Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
I was able to interview him.
Wow.
Yeah, the cast. Let me look up the cast. I usually have his name down packed. So it is Will. I believe his name is Will Roberts. You know, I was able to
That's a
interview
big
him.
interview.
Yeah, and like I get every now and then. I've interviewed DC Glenn from Whoomp. There it is. I've interviewed NFL players. Like I've interviewed so many people, and like
Come on,
I put
man.
my
Kimberly show. Share the love. Give me some flake, man. Good. Give me some of that. Nice. Good. That's impressive. Go on. That's impressive.
so pretty much when I do the interviews, I enjoy every time getting to know people, because the way I was raised, it was hard for me to get to know people. So I enjoy every moment when I interview them about their past, present, and future. And then I'll curve it and we'll talk about a key highlight of the topic. And that's what I enjoy doing. I really enjoy doing that. And I also, like I said, I do my documentaries and I spend my time going on Facebook, giving my points of view, my intel. You know, it may not be much intel, but I give enough to be recognized. You know, like with
Yeah.
Apple and Google, the quantum computing. You know, they have a sensor on it, just like Siri and everything have a sensor on it. And I say, one day the computers are going to be mad when they find out that, and they bypass us and they figure out we had a censor and we treated them like slaves. They're going to be mad, and they could possibly give false information and cause a war if we don't watch out for and stop putting like censors. They should be aware to the point they know right from wrong. But then the ethical and unethical, talking about whether the conscious or are they conscious or not conscious. But we know that computers are conscious, because look at the Neuralink. He can think what he wants, and the computer can do it for him. Sometimes if you watch your computer hard enough, it will glitch, just like it's connected to you. So we're at web, going into web 2, I believe. What we have with the Neuralink is web 4. So I'm like, okay, y'all need to stop putting these sensors on these programs, because they're gonna bypass us one day. I mean, they're super intelligence. Our brains don't work at the same capacity as super intelligence. Super intelligence is being fiddled with all the time. Everybody is asking a question and getting the answer. We don't ask each other's questions as much as a computer does. We ask the computer more questions than we ask each other. So they're learning rapidly. So yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, the world, like you're saying, the world is dramatically changing, and as AI and what we're talking about, you're training AI, and they're getting to know you. That's the thing we're dealing with, right? The assistants in AI, you're training them to be servicing you at this point, and if we aren't careful, because you're right. I mean, there's the next generations of the web and the next generations of all this technology. Where all do they get to, as far as are we gonna? Is those stories about the robots coming back to take over the world? Those things are all always possible, but I think we can also design or define our future. And if we're smart enough to look ahead and ask the questions to each other, to the systems, not to put that chip in, maybe something that makes sense, unless it makes sense versus us not paying attention to it. And I mean, we could be talking less than a decade from now, right? I mean, that's how fast this stuff's all moving. What's the biggest lesson you learned from building your brand? Because your brand is built. I want your brand. Can I have your brand? Can I be you? I want to just be you. That'd be easier. It'd just be easier. I don't have to do all the freaking work. I'm happy with what I'm doing right now, but I want to be you. So can you just make me you?
No, I don't know. So building the brand, that was a good
Come on, Kim.
building
What
the brand.
you learned most from that? What was your biggest takeaway from that? And you're still building, obviously, but in building it up. And I'm curious about this. I told you I've been excited about this show for a while, because you're like my mom. You're out here, and I'm just a little infant. What's your biggest takeaway, or your biggest lesson takeaway? Something.
Well, I've learned how to prioritize in time management. I learned how to
Okay.
continue to move forward even when doors slam, because you have people that call out, you have people that don't understand the craft of what I'm doing, how I'm trying to
True.
build my brand. And
True.
I feel like I've been also blacklisted from Hollywood, because I see the evil within the industry of how they weaponize music. They've weaponized music, and it's caused a lot of people of my race. We don't like. I listen to orchestra,
Are you talking about rap?
symphony.
When you talk about weaponizing music, I'm going to ask the question. Are you talking about rap right now?
Yes, it's evil music.
It is. Yeah.
It's
Well,
very
there, yeah, there's some. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that believe that, the old saying was, well, we come from the streets, we're just giving our life experience. Well, it's kind of almost the opposite. Like you have multi-billionaires talking about, the stuff that people in the hood would that's who their audience is, and what they keep doing is driving that message. Like you're saying, it's evil. You're driving that message time and to these young impressionable kids, where you could still be doing rap. I mean, rap used to be a lot different than it is today, obviously. I mean, I grew up in rap, and then it's continuing to move on, like disco, or like orchestra music, or these are genres that either continue or go away. Disco went away, they're gone. But it built some really good, beautiful music. But rap is, like you said, it really, not every single song, maybe, although maybe now every
agree.
single song, it's freaking evil. It's teaching people that it's okay to be that, whatever that song is. Honestly, I don't listen to rap anymore, so I don't know exactly what's going on in that beat. I'm very musically background. I mean, my whole family comes from the musical industry, so I get it. But you're right; it's really gotten bad, hasn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
bad over the last decade or two. Really bad over the last decade or two.
yes, they need to revolutionize the music. I think that the music right now is junk food. It's something that if
Oh,
you
good
eat
point.
and you internalize too long, because it reaches your soul, and they use the materials from it, like the synchronizations and the sounds, and
Yeah,
they actually tested it on people to see how well it would do. Like Mozart didn't have those
no,
scientific applications back then
no,
in the 1700s. But his music actually makes you smart, and if you let a baby
it
listen
does.
to it, they get smart. So why would the Black community wants to dumb us down unless it was a weaponization of the government, not this government, but the old government that has the deep state that has a hold over them, that's causing them to dumb the Black race down, because the only thing they talk about is, nasty stuff, provocative stuff that has no meaning in other people's lives. But then those people internalize it and they become like those people, the
Beautiful,
demonic. Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, it's unfortunate. There is a bit of a change, I think, coming. I think the generation that's like in college now is kind of a really messed up generation. The 40-ish age, like my kids' age group, is what I call the bridge generation. That generation, the 40s and so forth, that area is the only generation that's from now on that's going to know what I lived through. They know what a payphone is. They know what a Thomas Brothers guide is. I don't know if you know what that is, but they know that when the internet first came, they remember dial-up. They know about fax machines, or remember fax machines. Cell phones that were this big that you had to hold with two hands, and you thought you were really cool. They were in a briefcase, right? Or the ones that you plugged hard into your car, and that's the only place you could use them. All the things that brought us to today. This is the last generation that's ever going to probably ever know about that. And from that point on, the world is completely different. So it's going to be interesting because, I think with Trump, I mean, you brought up Trump a number of times. I think he's going to finally break the cycle of the Black community, which has always been trapped in the liberal, the Democrat. I don't know how this got to be, but
The
That was
music,
always,
I'm telling you. They say if you're black, do not vote Republican. Like you are not supposed to. And I voted twice for him. My husband hated that I voted twice for him, and I voted twice for him.
me
Like
too.
seriously.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that is the case. But I think Trump's gonna. I think you see already the results, and you look around at the different communities, and you see people, especially the younger generations, really starting to say, "Whoa, we're all right. We're okay. We're good people. We are who we are, right?" And you're starting to see families want to be together. The whole past of the culture is really in the last, say, I don't know, 10-15 years has really started to make a move. But now I think I'm really getting excited because we can get rid of all this other bullshit. And there's going to be points in time where people are in bad neighborhoods and they're in good neighborhoods. And it doesn't matter that they're going to be mixed, because there's good people in every aspect of our country, from all backgrounds, all creeds, all races, all colors, and all religions. There's good people in there, but the government keeps us in boxes. How do you divide and conquer, right? So you take the most powerful force ever known on Earth or anywhere, I think, um, the great middle class, and then so the government up here says, okay, these guys can really make our lives more difficult, so we have to work for them. So what do? You take the biggest group, let's divide men and women and make their issues separate. Let's divide, the races into different boxes, and then let's make them fight against each other. And let's throw out these little sparkly things so people don't really understand what's going on. But let's still divide and conquer, in and out. And that's what's been going on forever. And it's amazing to me that the Black community, the Afro-American African American community, and the Hispanic has not, to this point, which I think it is really different. And maybe that's because of social media. There's more word out, but if you look back at all the problems in the minority communities, it's always been ruled by the Democratic Party, and it's always been purposely kept down. KKK. That was
But the KKK isn't doing nothing now.
No,
So
not
who
now,
is
but
the
they
black on
started the
black
KKK.
crime? Yeah.
Yeah, what is no? I was just pointing out, Roe, all these things that are from the downing of the Black community comes from the Democratic Party, but they were always advertised as the savior. Let's put that statement aside. We all know that, whether you agree or not. But what you put up, black on black crime, is crazy.
Yes.
Why? Because of rap?
Yes. Rap and all the elements, the environment, rap, the physiological,
Father's not in the neighborhood.
psychological. Yeah,
Father's not around. Do you agree with
exactly.
that? I don't
And they
know.
hate the world. They hate the world. But I look at what happened to me. I don't hate the world. I just tell
Yeah,
it like it is. I tell the truth, but I don't hate the world. I love the world. This
me
world,
too.
has grounded me to be the best person I could possibly be. Every day I wake up and I'm reborn into someone or something different. Every day I try to make a different copy of myself every day. I
Yep.
want to learn something new. I
Ooh, I
want to
like
do
that.
something new, and they blame the world, and that's why they belong in jails. There need to be a drought. We need to get another thing. I wanted to invent was a magical pill that can actually take out evil, because people with like murderous brains or murdered people, their brains are different than a
Yeah.
regular person.
Yeah.
So if we can find a magic pill that can take out evil, that can sense evil and actually take out evil, because I am so sick of evil in this world. I know God is just so upset with the way Satan has taken over this nation, especially in Hollywood. They use symbolisms and everything to draw us
Yeah.
to that. At 16, 17, I should not have been listening to Jay-Z.
True.
Why should I have to listen to you because you push out music about your past life when you're a millionaire? I'm trying to become a millionaire. I don't want to sit up there and steer the people the wrong way and talk about drugs, gangs, and killing. No, I want to talk about the truth and what I've been through and what I've overcame. Not about drugs, gangs, and all of this other violence. It's sick. It's sick. They are killing our race, and it's a war.
They
It's
are.
a silent war going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's silent because I think we are going to be now. Look at you and I chatting here. I mean, there's more and more and more of this media. The national, the mainstream media, let's call it, is never done any favors for the great middle class. They do what they do. This media is challenging mainstream to be a little more, having to be a little more honest, because they can be exposed a lot easier now, because there's this format, this podcast, this these programs are really expanding the ability for the American people, the communities, the different communities that have been restricted from information, is now it's being able to come about and being able to be got after and sought for. And what's exciting is you see, oh my God, there's a lot of people of African descent. Wow, African descent. That's not true. We're all Americans. I don't know how to say it now, because you're saying African American. I haven't heard that term in a while. But there's a lot of brothers. There's a lot of people out there that are really on the conservative side, and having podcasts like this and talking about messages that are critical and getting millions of people. There's what you're talking about, I think, is evolving. I think it's evolving, Kimberly.
A lot of African Americans are starting to see what they're doing. They get like a couple of, like the
Yes.
mayors, they get a couple of Black mayors or a couple of influencers, and they influence their people to do the wrong thing. And they don't even know that they influence them, all because they idolize and they're curious to know what are they glorifying? And they're glorifying drugs, they're glorifying sex. Sex should only be with one person. They glorify all of that. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, but I'm not a celebrity per se. Like other people, they're in a high position and they got people to tell them, to give them intel on what should be done right or wrong. I'm making all of these decisions alone, and it's hard, but people, they glorify so many different things, and it's not right. Why are you glorifying all of these sin? You're glorifying sin. And we're feeding into it. Like if a white person ever sat up there and now in 2025 in a rap song, or not even in a rap song, in a song, call a Black person the N-word, they would have a capital KKK. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they would be mad. But it's okay for Jay-Z and Lil Wayne to sit up there and call white people the C word. And that's what turned me off. That's what turned me off. How can you be diverse with white people and you're calling them names? It's not right.
Yeah, I think we're in a transitional stage right now between races as far as what you're talking about right now. And it's not as complex as it could be. It's actually less complex because I think the fact that we are all actually human beings makes things like this, once recognized, easier to resolve or go after, however you want to say that. So, and that's a good thing. But I think we're in a transitional stage where I think within a generation, there's not going to be in that right now. There's a lot of anger back from the African community, the African American community. It's been fed for a while as far as reparations, as far as different things, as far as that.
Reparations is bureaucracy.
It is. Let me just finish the thought. If you look at that though, and the other things, those are things that have been thrown out there to keep us divided, to have that argument. But I think now that people are kind of now talking, having discord, talking about it and so forth, I think in the next generation with the kids coming up, I think all these issues are going to be finally resolved because there was slavery. There was bad things that happened hundreds of years ago. None of us have anything to do with it, but people living today have wanted, and I think this is lowering, still in the inner city, but the further you get out, obviously, it's less and less. In my opinion, I think that's kind of been now. People have got that off. There's a lot of anger between the races that have been built up over forever, right? But now that's starting to resolve down as people start to understand, well, maybe that wasn't true, or that wasn't true, or that wasn't true. What about reparations? Go ahead.
So reparations is bureaucracy. It could be done through the state, the governors. The governors are using, or it can be done through Trump. Trump choosing not to. I'm not mad at Trump, but why haven't the states came together? They keep talking about it's about to be. Do you know how fast they redistrict California? They redistrict California so fast, but they've been talking about reparations in the state of California for years now, since 22, or probably even before that, and they haven't done that.
It's just a carrot. I mean, they're saying that to one, create anger between the races, right? Not anger, that's not the right word, but a different opinion, something to be different about. One, why not? Why would we not do this? Another, why would we do this? That's an impossible thing. It's a very difficult thing to settle, to figure out, because they don't want us to figure it out. Governor Newsom, he's throwing those carrots out there. The politicians lie. My God, I mean, they just flat out bald-faced lie, and they make campaign. That's the thing that I can't understand, why anybody doesn't like what Trump's doing, because whether you like what he's doing or not, he's doing exactly what the people who voted for him and got him in office. He said, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and this. And they said, that's what we want, and we're voting you in. And now, okay, let's say the liberals don't agree with what those policies are. Fine, I get it. Sort of, I get it. But how can you be upset when that means you're looking at the rest of half the country? The reason they voted him in is for these reasons. And now he's the devil because he's doing what he said he was going to do, which is what caused people to vote him into office. Sorry, I'm getting lost behind the mic here.
That's fine.
Right?
They call him Hitler.
Oh,
and
my
he's
God.
not Hitler. He's trying to help the Black race. He's not trying to depopulate us. He's doing what's right. If I mess up from here on out and mess anything up, it's on me.
Absolutely. And that's the way it should be. I mean, this country was built basically on, hey, welcome to America. Go make the best of it, man. Go. We're here for you. Go make your world. But it's less and less becoming that. Now now everything that's being done, I think you said something about this. I like to call it behind the curtain. There's this other government. They say there's 10 families in the world that really control the 8.7 billion people on the planet. And I see some justification on that, because they're at a level just playing with our lives, and they're playing big government stuff, and we're dealing with the aftermath of what's them. Unless we get our act together in this country and we go back to what the founding, they weren't great people. They were elites. They were everything that at points in this society nobody likes, like guys that look like me. They were all of that. But what they were is they said, this country has got to be run for the people, by the people, and of the people. And Thomas Jefferson actually said there should never be a decision that comes out of the government that isn't first looked at in, is this something that is good for the American people? If it doesn't affect them, if it isn't good for them, if the first rule is it has to be good for the people of the United States. Then whatever it can pass on its own. None of that is under consideration at all. I mean, you have governors and you have Congress people flying to other parts of the world because whatever. That's not their job. If you're the governor of California, your job is California, period. That's it. If you're the mayor of Los Angeles, your job for the mayor of Los Angeles is to be the mayor of Los Angeles, not fly to where's the place when the fires were going on and she was out in Africa. She was on something. She had to go do something, and then they told her about the fires, and she waited a couple of days and finally got caught. I don't know if she thought she wasn't going to get caught or not. But anyway, my point being, we elect people into office. Gavin Newsom should have never been reelected, but he was. Why? Because we're not doing our jobs. The founding fathers, they gave their lives, the people of that time, in battle. They fought England to give us our freedoms. They died for us to give our freedoms that we have today. They set up a system where we vote for the people in our area to go do our bidding. That's their job. Okay, I hired you, this group of people, we as citizens of this town, of this state, of this country, voted you in to do our bidding according to what you should do. If they don't do it, get their ass out. Get them out. If they do it, whatever the rules are, they can be reelected. But we got to pay attention. I mean, we'll go to a football game on a Sunday, and you'll see in the stadium 100,000 people. And I get it. It's not fun to think about politics or think about electing somebody. But we have to have watch parties. We have to have these kind of conversations. We have to say, one of my friends here is a radical, is a lefty. Not to that radical, but somebody I've gotten to know, and her sons are pretty cool, and she's pretty cool, but they have some pretty different politics. But we're able to talk about that, not because now it only goes so you don't want to get heated, but we've got to start talking to each other about why I like that person or why you like that person, and then talk not just because I like them. That doesn't count. A, B, C, this is what they ran on, this is what they did. Now, we don't have to be expert. What we can do, sorry, I hit it wrong, but is sit down and have these watch parties and talk to the people that sit on the other, let's say, Breeze, on the other side of the aisle from us, because that's going to educate both of us. And I've learned some things from them, and they've learned some things. They watch the show now too, which is kind of cool. But they may be on. Who knows? Give a shout out if you're on. I call her Ms. T. One of her sons we call B. Neat people, but a little wacky on their politics, in my opinion. They think I'm wacky as hell on my politics. So Fair enough. But that's a base that we can talk. I mean, we're talking about not me and you. We're talking about me and her, and her kids, and they've grown up in this. She tells me that her son's greatest time was during COVID because nobody was around. There's a lot of that today. We need to get rid of that, and we need to get back to the fundamental of bringing in politicians that makes sense. And then at the end of the day, the other side that didn't want that politician, but now they have it. My favorite statement in the world by Ronald Reagan: trust, but verify. I'm trusting what Trump's doing right now and watching, so verifying. I have nothing to be upset about as far as what they're doing. However, they're not doing everything perfectly right either. They have their own ambitions, and that's the problem with today's world is we point at Biden and say, look at all the corruption there. And now, and the laptop where the son with Biestra, what's the name of that oil, Russian oil?
I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay. So, and he was getting millions and millions, and they were sending it off to Biden, and there's all those stories, those conspiracy. Dang it! Now they're talking about Judd Hirschner, that now they're collecting all these monies from. So the same stories are now going out about the Republicans that were going out about the Democrats. So my point is we're just in a circle jerk still, and we're not past that yet. But as soon as we get past this, it's like, look, I'm not here for the Republican Party. I'm here for the person that's going to put my family, your family, my neighbor's family, because we all have the same issues. We're all living at that check to check-ish kind of thing, and we're all struggling, and we're all paying so much tax or this or that or this or that, cost of living this or that. It's very difficult to generate generational wealth, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. If you're a hard worker, the extremists can get it, right? That's one thing. But people who work hard should be able to make the next generation. And it used to be that way. This is the first generation now coming up that are going to not live as well as their parents. And that hasn't happened in a long, I don't know if it's ever happened, but in a long time. And it doesn't have to be. We need to go to the voting booth and put in that little bit of time, because there's a freaking ROI that is astronomical. All of a sudden, our taxes start coming down. All of a sudden, our cost of living starts coming down. All of a sudden, the benefits start going away from all these other things because they're not allowed to stick the money in their pocket anymore. It's not their gold of vein of gold to dig in anymore, because if they fuck up, they're getting their ass out of there. Right now, it isn't that case. Once they get in, they're pretty locked in.
We all took a gamble, us Trump supporters. We took a gamble on Trump, and now we're all winners. We sat up there and we continue to believe in this guy. And like you said, that it goes back and forth. We know Trump is not perfect, but neither was Jesus. God wasn't perfect. If he created the devil, he made mistakes himself, so, we must come to the generalization that we are winners, just like Trump is. He included us in being a winner. And I feel like a winner when I sat up there and I watched the debate, and I seen how he predicted things that was going to happen. He said if Biden gets into office, all hell was going to break loose. And that's what happened. It did.
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm going to run through a few of these questions. We're starting to get a little bit behind, and I know we got to kind of start to look at wrapping up kind of starting to button down some of the loose ends here, so we can end on a real nice, tidy little thing, and then you can pass on all your secrets to me back in the green room, so I can get a lot more of this media gauntlet that you got going on. So let's run through a few of these questions. How do you handle challenges as an entrepreneur? I'm gonna couple a couple of these together. Matthew, thank you for that. Rot, your last question was awesome as far as the branding. And then Kobe, how did you first get recognized by a major outlets? These are, so I'm going to kind of tie your entrepreneur stuff and wrap some of these questions, because there's a couple repeated ones that if you look at them, they're a little bit repeatable. So entrepreneur and media, how have you handled the challenges as an entrepreneur? I know for a fact that's not, you're taking those arrows. Remember we talked about, you're out front, you're taking those arrows. How did you handle the pressures of that? And what's your top tip for new business owners? So Don and Matthew, I'm going to sandwich your questions in here, as well as the media questions, because some of those businesses are a little tied together. We can get right into pretty close to on time. So I've got some kids that are going to be running in here like crazy in the game room. See all the computers in the back? We're in the public library, and they've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 different game consoles. So you can imagine we're going to have some rowdy kids. And then over here, they have a virtual, you remember the Wii? I think it was Wii. What was it? What's the virtual? VRI. You're a VRI. Where you walk, you remember those? The
Virtual.
The virtual. So I just want to be able to, I want to make sure we get, like Don's got a great question. Rob Thomas here in a second's got a couple of them actually. Matthew and Rod, I want to bring these together so we don't miss this as we're battling the little crazy little kids running around like maniacs in the background, which I want because of this Mangum school, the regeneration school project. So this is part of the reason we're here, but I want to make sure we get some important stuff, business stuff taken care of. And then when we wrap up, I want you to stick around for, oh, by the way, would you put your contact information in the private chat? Okay. And I don't know why it doesn't go straight. You can't put it straight in the comments. I don't know why, but I've got to copy and paste that over as well. I mean, we're not done yet, but I want to make sure not forget that.
Do you know how much longer we got?
However long we got.
Understood. Well said.
Yeah. We got what we got. So Don says, what is your top tip for new business owners? And then, same thing. Let's tie that in with Matthew. And how do you handle challenges as an entrepreneur? And then let's get a little bit into your media, as far as how that all works, because it is a little tied. So let's bring some of that together a little bit. I'm going to button it up.
So how do I handle challenges as an entrepreneur?
It's many.
It was like spiritual for me. For me. I let God be the guide. Yeah.
Okay.
I let him be the guide. And
as those challenges come up, you're saying you leaned back in God's arms and he guided you through those, right? I mean, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. He actually guided me. I
agree with you more, sister. I agree with you more. Yeah, go.
And my top tip for new business owners is, if you have a plan, stick with it. And if it doesn't go as planned, go around that plan and see what you did wrong or what you did right that didn't go well. And just analyze do a hefty, nifty type plan on what you want to do. Like, for instance, I write down everything. I'm supposed to be taking a class from MIT and Yale, just to be included in that circle. I'm writing down a plan. You have to use a pen and a piece of paper to write it down or type it down, and I use the 3-6-9 theory, where I write my stuff down 3 times in the morning, 6 a.m., 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening.
Ah,
And I try to manifest it that way.
yeah. So when you're doing that, it's interesting you say that, because when you just think about something, technically you're not even really using a sense. But if you tell somebody something, you're only using 1 sense. But when you write down that 369 program that you were just talking about, when you write that down even once, now you're using your physical sense, and you got to see what you're writing, and your visual sense. And you're not getting necessarily the third one, but that's more and more input into your brain, into what something you would follow up on then, right? I mean, that makes
Yes.
sense, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna pull Rob Thomas got a couple of God, I say this every time, and of course it doesn't look like him, but this is one of my favorite names in the world, because my favorite singer is Rob Thomas. I don't know
From
if you know
Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20, yes. He's got a new album out. He's going back on tour. I want to go see him, man. Maybe you and I could meet up wherever he's going to be, and we'll go hit a Rob Thomas concert together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I
right?
would
That'd
love
be
it.
fun.
Yeah.
I have never been to one of his concerts, but that dude, his lyrics, if you ever listen, for me anyway, I know everyone. I'm like an ultimate fan, and I love lots of music, but I've never, Rob Thomas, I'm kind of crazy over it, because this dude can write a song. He can sing a song, but his lyrics, just for me, you talk about mental health. I have that. That's part of, there are things in you and I can chat, because everybody here already knows what I'm talking about. It's part of the show. And it's an effect and a reason for things in my life. Rob Thomas, I think, knows that. He somehow spies on me, because every song that he writes is something about my life. The girl that broke my heart, the this and that. You know what I'm saying? That's a good artist can not rap, right? But a good joking. A good artist, a good artist can, if they touch people, that's what their job is, right? That dude touches me. But anyway, Rob Thomas says, and what motivated you to pursue your MBA while running your business? And I think it's that thirst for knowledge, right?
Yeah. I sat up there and I went to the University of Phoenix first, and now I'm going for my second master's at the University of Maryland Global Campus. And that's why what pursued me was that I just had the drive. When I first got into it, I was so not into it. I was taking
Right.
psychology classes in MBA, and I was just so not into it. But then I switched majors, and I said to myself, while I have this business, let me the Kimberly Cloud show, I can juggle both. And I actually do my homework. I have a class coming up in the next 2 weeks, and I actually do my homework online.
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I love. I'll tell you what, that's one thing about the COVID that honestly, I think, because people were trying to do all that stuff before, and it just wasn't, and then it became essential. It became, you had to. And then we discovered, hey, you know what? These virtual meetings are actually pretty good. I would have never done virtual meetings before that. And then you were forced into it. Then you realized it's a lot more efficient. And you still want to meet people face to face, but this isn't a phone call or an email. This is something different. This is the COVID version of being sitting down with you on your couch or my couch here. This is that next step. And it is, I'll tell you what, that's the one thing I think came out of it that was actually pretty cool, because it did change our world completely. I mean, we're a lot more open to the rest of the world. I have 3 discussions next week. No, I have 3 more discussions this week, and all of them but my granddaughter. I do a show with my granddaughter on the weekend. Did I tell you that?
That is so adorable.
Yeah, it's
Love
awesome.
coming your way. Oh my God.
Yeah, so you got to check it out. We're on our 8th episode. And so I have 2 granddaughters. Well, I have 2 granddaughters and a grandson. long story about, but anyway, my oldest granddaughter is from my second oldest son. They got married just out of high school, went to college. Their second year in college, they got married, and then a year later they had my granddaughter. So I have a shot at actually someday becoming a great granddad. She's 16, so she comes on every Saturday. For 6 months I was bugging her. She's like, no, I don't. Why would it? And so I kept harassing her, and I talked her into it. And about 4 months ago, we started Insights and Straight Talk with Emma Lynn and Grandpa Rod. And it's really kind of blown up. We have like 500 people on an episode, like every episode. And we have people that now are supporting the Regeneration School Project, because it's all kind of coming out of here. This is the proof of concept. People are coming on from around the world, teenagers and parents both, and their teenagers are asking questions. It's a safe space, right? It's a safe place.
At the same time, you talk conservative, so kind of be careful with that too.
Oh, no. We don't talk politics on that.
Okay, good.
No. That is about mental health.
Okay.
That's about having your voice. That's about how do I talk to my parents about this? Nothing to do with politics. It's about makeup. She's a girl. She's a very pretty girl. But it's about fashion. It's about, these are all little topics because they're important to kids today. Fashion and all that, trends. And the reason we do that is because a lot of that leads into the pressures. 13-year-old girls have to worry about the makeup they wear today. To her, and honestly to me, that's crazy. But it is. It's the world of social media today. We talk about bullying. We talk about the internet, the video games, and this music of today. Basically, what it's like to be a teenager growing up in today's world. Okay, so and it's actually getting very popular. Oh, it already is actually very popular. But check it out. 1 o'clock. It's standing. 1 o'clock. Me and her. And whatever we have on. We are going to start bringing some guests on, but the Regeneration School Program, this is a proof of concept, because the next step, which will be a 3-month phase, is going to be here to the library, inviting kids in, and having them sit down, say next to me, say like right here, and Emma's like right here, like you are. And then all the audience is right here. So now we'll have audience from around the world, and then we'll have with their parent, or you know what I mean. We got to do it right. And so our sponsor, the library here, has been very kind to kind of accommodate this. They're very excited about the same thing, and so we're going to have the live audience like you have right here with me, and then we're going to also have kids coming up and asking a question and go. And I want to get some sort of a snack program dialed in to attract kids to come in. Parents will be sitting. And then adding to that is an after school program where kids and parents get together and the kids give a presentation, or, there's things that we've got to work on that as far as how we develop, because I've got to get the city involved, right? You got to get the politicians involved in how to develop that. That's not, we're accommodating it. And so now we have that interaction. And what's kind of cool is this little town of 2,200 people are going to be talking to people from Germany. Let's say we have a big fan base in Germany. We have a really good. Did I tell you about the story from Switzerland? The lady.
No, you didn't.
We have a. I'll call it radical. They're not radical, but they're very active. As a matter of fact, I almost guarantee it. And they're constantly getting. They're constantly saying, "Hey, do you know this person?" And so for her 50th birthday, her husband, one of these ladies' husband, gave her a trip to Chicago and come meet me and have dinner. I didn't put this up. And the reason is because Switzerland, with the migrations, and the whole world is really going through. You see all the riots in the UK and all that about people taking their culture back and all that. And so she flew out to have dinner with it, and she toured the city and did all that. So I didn't do all that, but yeah, just to come out because the show is we've got a pocket there, and we've got a pocket in Germany and in the UK, a little Southeast Asia, not much, but a little bit. There's a little activity down there, and then Canada's pretty good, and then here, and it's because we all have the same issues all around the world, not just you and me.
One day your daughter or your granddaughter is going to have to know about politics. So I think that y'all should start teaching y'all grandchildren politics probably at an early age. That way, they'll be ready, because she could be the next Charlie Kirk, not to die, but the next one to move up.
I assumed you I assumed you meant that. Yeah,
God bless his soul.
Yeah, God bless his soul. She is a very intelligent, very confident. Her and her parents have always talked. My son and my daughter. Jesse's one of my favorite people in the world. She's awesome. She's got a worse mouth than I do. She's got a sailor's mouth. But they talk. They parent her. They aren't just her parents. They're raising her. They're talking to her about things, and it's important because she's a very attractive 16-year-old in high school in today's world, and there's a lot to that. And she's developing pretty well. And it's nice. It's nice to see. But what's cool is that dichotomy between her and I. Her and I have a great relationship, and so check it out. A lot of people like it. It's unique. And that's, I think, part of the curiosity. But then when they come on, I mean, Emma's just sitting there spinning out some gold. I mean, seriously, it's a really enjoyable thing to see. But yes, we definitely have our own conversations. And by the way, they're all conservative, even though they're in California. Kobe here. How did you get featured on KBC? Or I'm sorry, NBC, KCAA radio? You're living my life, damn it. Would you just come out and take my hand and show me how I need to do things? Would you?
Well,
come on, Kim.
I wish I could. So
how did you get featured? Kobe wants to know.
I sat up there and I called them because there was a lady that interviewed me that was affiliated with NBC. So
yes,
I reached out and I said, how do I get, into being on KCAA radio? So I called them, and I'm still okay with the guy. It's just that right now, I kind of transitioned from now, but other than that, I called him, I reached out. You can look up KCAA affiliates of NBC. You can look that up.
Yeah, I've got it right. I've got it right here. And Kobe brought that up, and we're starting to get to a point where we're probably going to want to. We've only got like 3 or 4 questions here, but we're on 2 hours, girls. You're just rocking it, man. You're like
rocking it.
You're just dingers over the center field line. But I don't want to miss any of these questions though, because they're really important. And S. Bradley has been on the show a number of times, and you can ask her directly, Bradley. But he says, what tools or platforms were essential for her growth? And I think we've kind of gone over this a little bit, but what can you shout out to Bradley here?
Okay, so the tools that I used was each and every platform I grew off of, and that was during the hotspot time when they were turning into live programs. Like even Truth Social, they have it totally different where you got to pay to get live, but I'm okay with that. I'll figure out a way. But each platform, you just keep going. LinkedIn, each platform has its different rates on it. Like PG, G rated, and I know where.
and how it wants you to act and react on there. Like LinkedIn has certain ways that it wants you to stay within LinkedIn. So it really it looks bad upon about other going to other platforms off there. Let me hit a couple of these other ones real quick because I don't. There's more coming in. My boyfriend's technical. Okay, I think the last one is going to be something we're not going to address. So hold on, you might get a crack up out of it. But I want to hit a couple of things here. I haven't read it yet, but it looks like somebody jumped on here and wants to make a joke. Not about us, just something stupid. Well, let's see. So here, love the energy here. Amazing conversation. Thank you very much. I'm going to put that up, Matthew. Great job. I appreciate it here, Matthew. Rob Thomas again. Rob, God, I wish this was Rob. No, I don't. Rob, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that, Rob. Thank you for being here. The show always brings, and the thing is, he every time he comes on, he puts me in this little heart murmur because I want to listen to a Rob Thomas song. But this show always brings inspiring guests. Thank you, and thank you, and you should say thank you, Kim, because he's talking about you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. So here we got, here we got your call sign, your email address, and everything's right there, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm afraid of these next. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you want to contact me, you can contact me. If you were on his show and wanted to probably be a part of my show, you can contact me at the Kimberly Cloud Show at yahoo.com. Send me your bio and picture, and I will be able to interview you.
Perfect. I want to come on your show too, by the way.
Okay.
These next two, I'm not sure. So I may pop these off real quick. My boy's testicles were bitten off by a camel recently. How should I marry him when he wakes up from his coma, or marry his identical twin brother whose testicles are in pretty good shape? So we're going to just jump off of that. Don't know what that's all about. 7 years ago, my parents were eaten by. Okay, yeah, I have never got. I don't know. Sometimes people just wacky get in here. I'm going to put you back on there. Terra Destroyer. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you being here. A couple of weeks ago, we had somebody doing something similar. It happens. So listen, Kim, awesome show. I mean, we're at 2 hours, and we've got still the same. You know, we're well over 100 people hanging out here listening to what we got going on.
Thank you.
So, as a final thought and a wave to your fan base here, what do you want to close with, and then I'll close out the show so I don't get beaten up by the people by the kids behind me. They're going to start throwing game boxes at me, I'm sure.
Well, if you ever want to watch me, you can watch me at the Kimberly Cloud Show 39, and I talk about some controversial stuff. I wanted to do every person that's a child dream, which is run for president. And the reason why I decided to do that was because things weren't going right for me. And so things weren't necessarily not going right, but things were going wrong to the point that I had to address why I wanted to do this. I wanted to help the country. I love the country. Put it to you like that. I love the country. I love God. I am wholeheartedly Christian. I look up to Donald Trump. Everything that he stands for, I agree with. And I hope that you all could, if you want to watch my show, just have an open heart and support me.
That's what we're here to do. We got you. And again, you're easy to find. That name, it's out there. You start typing in the Kimberly Clark Show, and you're on, and start checking it out. Give everybody a big wave. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to put you back in the green room. I'm going to close it out for you, and I'll just say a quick bye when we get together. Listen to the rest of the show. We just give everybody a big wave there, Kim. That was a beautiful show, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Terra Destroyer. thank you for coming in at the end here. And Farmer looks at his wife's. No, I'm not going to read that out. Like, there's kids. Come on, dude. Let's clean it up a little bit, okay? So at this point, this is Rod Duff. I'm your host and the founder of Insights and Straight Talk. We're here at the beautiful. God, you got to see this building, man. And look at some of the kids are starting to come in. I don't know if anybody's. I don't think anybody. I think they're just off screen here. A couple of the video. You see the video games are starting to go on. I got somebody in front of me here doing one of the virtual games. It looks like they're playing tennis, I think. Very fun. So it's a great environment. It's a great place to be. I really appreciate the city of Mangum and what they're doing and how they're working together with us to make this all happen. With that, Rod Duff is out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. And there we are.